Hey guys, Hollie Dunaway here, four-time world boxing champion. Today we're going to do a little bit of yoga. I've been doing yoga on the beach at 8:30 in the morning for the last year. I've been doing Vinyasa yoga, which is, I don't know, not the easiest type of yoga. It's a lot of downward facing dog. It's a lot on your shoulders. Vinyasa yoga is a little tougher. It's it's a whole lot of this right here, downward facing dog. Of course, with a vinyasa, ah, leading up to it. So kind of tough on your lower back also. But being on the beach, feet away from the water while you're suffering, it makes the suffering in the back of your mind. It just allows you to work through the pain and put your focus elsewhere, On yoga, you get to focus on breathing. And you wouldn't think focusing on breathing would keep you from hurting, but it actually does. There are at least 11 different types of yoga, and I'm pretty interested in trying them all, except heat yoga. That does not sound fun. I think heat yoga is where it has to be 102 degrees in the room. So, yeah, that doesn't really sound that fun. My favorite yoga that I tried though was Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga, you learn how to work with your life force energy or your chi. You learn how to channel it. So on Kundalini yoga, it's a lot of mantras, breath work, so a few yoga poses. But I guess what separates it is you have to hold certain positions for so many minutes, and you know how after a while you'll start kind of shaking. So what you do is you channel this life force energy right here. You imagine that there's this ball of white energy right here, and you tighten up your belly button and your genitals at the same time, and in your head, because your eyes are closed most of the time, and so in your head you imagine this ball of swirling energy in that area as you're tightening up, and then you imagine that it shoots out all four limbs, and then all of a sudden you've got your second wind. No more shaking. I wish I had known this in my professional boxing days. I probably could have used some of this life force energy, mentality in between rounds. When I first go back to the corner before the trainer starts yelling at me like, "Here's what you're doing wrong," and "Here's what you're doing that's working," before any of that, when you just sit down like, pit stop style, like get the snot out and get the blood off, and when you're in that state, I could have been just closing my eyes while they worked on me and just visualize that energy just shooting it through all four limbs. And I'm sure I could have recovered a lot quicker if I would have known the power of the mind back then. Boxing was always tough on my conditioning, but it didn't really hurt physically, not while you got that adrenaline pumping. And you don't really feel anything in the fight, with the adrenaline pumping. You feel it the next day, though. Your neck hurts and your nose hurts. Man. But during the fight, you got too much pride, boxers have a lot of ego and a lot of pride, and it's really your motivating factor. You need it. But yeah, you can't let self-doubt in there for a second. You have to at all times feel like you're gonna win every single second of every single round. You even do like visualization exercises, when you go to bed at night. You have to visualize like 50 alternative outcomes for the fight. And none of these can include you losing a single round. You have to believe your own hype. Oh, I remember a couple of fights where I had to learn this lesson the hard way, you know. Um, I had really good training camps for the fights. There's two I remember. And I was completely prepared. Gave up my life for several months, when I signed the contract for this fight. And I had got I let it get to me in my dressing room back there. I heard the announcer coming on, and usually I'd get back to my dressing room and just take a nap until it's time to like wrap my hands and warm up. That way I didn't have to deal with nerves. But these particular fights, I didn't do that. I was just a ball of nerves. So I had, just kind of changed my game plan at the very last minute. I changed my game plan at the last second, thinking, oh, I'm going to be even more defensive now, just because of nerves and just letting self doubt in there for just a second. And I still felt like I won those fights, but barely. I understood why I lost split decisions in both of those fights, and I let it be close. You can't let it be close, especially whenever you're in someone else's country. I just knew better, and that wasn't even the game plan I came there with. Like when I fought in Korea, that happened to me, and uh, in Korea, the girl I was fighting, she wasn't even. I was going down to 102 pounds, and there was no reason for me to be intimidated by her whatsoever. But I was fighting at like the '88 Olympic Stadium, and it was a huge arena. And then just being in Korea was really intimidating. It was, my translator, we couldn't even understand each other. It was really cold. They pulled all the moves. Like, I show up in my dressing room and I'm not joking you, at least like 4 inches of water on the ground. So, I've got to pretty much turn the hallway outside of my dressing room into a dressing room. Like, oh yeah, you guys, you didn't see this, huh? Okay. And then, like, in the middle of the fight, or in the middle of the rounds, her trainers, they would just be pouring bottles of water on her head. So it was just saturated in her corner. And all she did is run from me and go to that corner. And, as soon as there was several times I like threw a punch and like almost slipped and fell down throwing the punch. Yeah, they really tried it. But I did get in my own head, back in the dressing room or the hallway. Yeah, I let that self doubt in. You can't allow that in. It has no place in sport. Should put this hair up. trying to look good for you guys, you know? Mm. Oh. Yeah, boxing is very much a mental game. Of course, you have to be in shape. You know, that's a given. That's any sport. You have to be physically prepared. But that's not what determines the winner. Confidence does. If you believe you'll land a shot, you're going to land it. If you doubt that you may land this shot, you will miss it because you will add that second of hesitation in there if you have any doubt. And that gives your opponent time to block or, you know, get out of the way. I'm obviously doing Vinyasa yoga. Man, maybe next time I'll do some Kundalini yoga. I don't get to do that as often. I really enjoyed that though. Kundalini. If you reach your Kundalini, it's where the energy flows freely up your chakra, up your spine. You know, your central nervous system. It's like it opens up a flow, a gush of energy, if you will. And I watched some of these. You know, I was kind of expecting this when I went to my Kundalini class. You know, in the middle of the class, somebody's Kundalini would, you know, break free, and then they look like they're having a climax there, and they just gotta, in the middle of the class, lay you down and let you just, you know, do your thing. Try not to judge you. No, it looked awesome. I would really love to, you know, experience that for sure. I've been trying to work on opening and balancing chakras. I'm just learning what a chakra is, and that stuff is so amazing. It's just, you know, you have certain points in your body where, you know, you've got tons of nerves along your, you know, along your spine. And, you know, if you get blocked, energy doesn't flow as freely and your body doesn't heal as well. And you just don't convert energy that well. So, yeah, I'm starting to find energy fascinating. I'll bore you guys with them just a little bit. But, all right, guys. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow on holliedunaway.com or on my YouTube channel. Have a good one.